Has this happened to you? You plug the iPhone to charge at night, then wake up and see that it's at 80%. There's nothing wrong with your iPhone, it's a cool trick by Apple that protects your battery. Today, I'm gonna show you how to charge your iPhone the right way. I'll talk about wired charging, wireless charging, secret settings, and everything new in iOS 26 will make your iPhone last longer. Let's start with a quick crash course on what's actually happening inside that iPhone battery when you charge it. Your iPhone uses a lithium-ion battery, and these batteries prefer staying between about 20% and 80% most of the time, and extreme lows or highs put more stress on them. Every single charge cycle from 0% to 100% permanently eats a tiny bit of the battery's capacity. That's just chemistry. Over time, the battery's chemical age increases, meaning it can't hold quite as much juice as when it was new. But not all iPhone batteries age at the same rate. It depends on factors like temperature and charging patterns, and Apple has been quietly improving the tech to slow down this aging. For example, starting with the iPhone 15 series, Apple doubled the expected battery lifespan. Batteries in iPhone 15 models and later are designed to retain 80% of their original capacity after 1,000 full charge cycles, whereas earlier iPhones were rated for 80% after 500 cycles. To check your iPhone's cycle count, now just go to Settings, Battery Health, and you'll see not only the maximum capacity percentage, but also the cycle count, plus info like manufacture date and first use. It's nerdy, but super useful for transparency. Now, because lithium-ion batteries don't like extremes, charging habits have shifted towards little and often rather than mega full blasts. Apple's whole strategy in recent years is to minimize the time your battery spends at 100% or near 0%, because those states put more strain on the chemistry. And that's exactly why features like optimized battery charging exist. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we talk software, let's cover the two main ways you throw power into your iPhone: wired and wireless. Each has its quirks, and yes, there are right ways to do them. First up, good old-fashioned wired charging. Starting with the iPhone 15, Apple ditched the Lightning port for USB-C. If you have an iPad, MacBook, Nintendo Switch, Android phone, whatever, you can use the same USB-C cable to charge all your devices. Just make sure to have a good power brick. I've personally been using either Apple original one or this cool one from Sharge. Sharge Retractable 65 is this tiny GAN charger that's part wall plug and part cable in one. It has a built-in USB-C cable that pulls out when you need it and retracts back when you don't, so there's no tangled mess. Pull to charge, retract to store, as they say on the box. The design is super slick. You can actually see some of the internals through the translucent case, and it's compact enough to fit in even a packed travel bag, about 40% smaller than traditional 65-watt bricks. What I love is the flexibility. It's got dual ports, the built-in USB-C plus an extra port, so I can fast charge my iPhone and top up another device at the same time. 65 watts is no joke. That's enough to juice a MacBook Air 15-inch from 0 to 50% in 35 minutes, or obviously charge any iPhone or iPad at full speed. And because it's built with GAN tech, it runs cooler and more efficiently than the old brick you got with your phone years ago. Remember those days? The Sharge barely warms up even when I'm pushing it, and the foldable wall plug snaps in for travel so it won't snag on anything. So if you are frequently on the move or just want to declutter your charging setup at home, check out the Sharge Retractable 65, link is in the description. It saved me from lugging multiple chargers, and honestly, it's one of those little quality of life upgrades that you wonder how you lived without. The link is in the description. The best thing about using a powerful charger is fast charging. If your brick is above 20 watts, you are in luck. Apple says any iPhone from the 8 onward can hit about 50% charge in 30 minutes using a high-speed charger. In practice, with an iPhone 16 Pro Max and a decent 20 watts or that Sharge brick, I rarely see half a charge added in half an hour. It's more like 2 or 3 hours with Apple's brick, and closer to 2 with Sharge. One big question I get is fast charging bad for the battery? The short answer, not really, or Apple wouldn't enable it. Lithium batteries do stress a bit under faster charging, mostly due to heat, but Apple balances speed and longevity by fast charging up to approximately 50 to 60% and then tapering off the speed as it gets closer to full. The iPhone avoids cooking the battery. You've probably noticed the last 20% from 80 to 100 is slower. That's intentional. It's also why the optimized battery charging feature loves to hover at 80%. more on that soon. So how to do wired charging right? Use a quality cable and charger that support USB power delivery. The cable that comes in the box with new iPhones is fine, USB-C to USB-C now, and if you grab something like the Sharge charger I mentioned, or Apple's 20-watt, 30-watt adapters, you're golden. Another common question is this: is using your iPhone while it's charging a bad idea? Not inherently. It won't make the battery forget how to charge or anything wild. The only real concern is heat. When you use the phone intensively, like gaming or streaming video while charging, you generate heat from both the screen chip and the charging process. Your phone might feel pretty warm. Heat, as we learned, is the enemy of battery health. So using it while charging isn't harmful, but keep an eye on the temperature. If it's getting toasty, consider giving it a break. Maybe don't leave Genshin Impact running at max brightness while plugged in for hours. Now, wireless charging has been around on iPhones since 2017, but with MagSafe it really became popular. By 2025, we have MagSafe stands on desks, MagSafe battery packs snapping on the back, even cars with MagSafe mounts. Charging without plugging in is awesome. I use MagSafe on my nightstand in standby mode. The right way to wireless charge is this: use MagSafe when possible with a good power brick. And if you're wondering whether the wireless charging will wear out the battery faster, the truth is wireless charging itself isn't inherently worse for the battery's chemistry. It's the heat it can generate. If you're using a good MagSafe charger, the heat difference is minimal. Apple wouldn't be pushing MagSafe as a first-class way to charge if it was destroying batteries left and right. I've wirelessly charged my phones daily for years and still got the usual lifespan. Just avoid cheap no-name wireless pads that might overheat or not regulate power well. Okay, now on to the star of the show, all the intelligent charging features Apple bakes into iOS. Apple has basically weaponized machine learning to quietly fix our bad charging habits without us even knowing. Feature number one is optimized battery charging. This feature has been around since iOS 13, but many people still don't really get what it does. It reduces wear on your battery by limiting the time it spends at 100% charge. Hitting 100% isn't the problem. Staying there for hours is. So this feature learns your daily routine, when you usually wake up or when you typically leave your phone charging for long stretches, and waits to finish that last 20% until right before you need it. You'll know optimized charging is active if you see a notification on the lock screen like optimized battery charging, scheduled to finish charging by 1:30 p.m. If for some reason you do need to fully charge sooner, you can long press that notification and tap charge now to override the delay. This feature is on by default, and honestly, I recommend leaving it on unless you have a very unpredictable schedule. Another great feature is charge limit. This one is new with iPhone 15 models and newer. It was quietly introduced in iOS 17 for the 15 series. iPhone 15 initially only had a simple 80% on-off toggle, but iOS 18 expanded this to the slider with multiple options. Essentially, you can now tell your iPhone, don't charge past X% at all. In settings, battery charging, you'll see charge limit with a slider. You can set it anywhere from 80% to 100%. If you set, say, 80% charge limit, your iPhone will stop charging at around 80% and just sit there. The cool thing about this limit is that even if you use a charge cap, your iPhone will occasionally charge to 100%, like once every month or so, to recalibrate the battery gauge. This way, the battery percentage reading stays accurate. If you live in the US, you might also see clean energy charging feature. It doesn't affect your battery in any way, just regulates when the iPhone charges. Here's how it works. Your iPhone finds out when your grid supplies energy coming from renewable sources and charges your phone then. In my opinion, the feature is useless. Sure, if your grid supplies renewable energy at night, it's all good, no effect in your life, but if it happens in the early morning, do you really want to wake up with a phone at 86%? In iOS 26, Apple has given the battery page a ground-up makeover, turning it into a live dashboard that tells you not only how much juice you have left, but also how every swipe, scroll, and background ping is chiseling away at that number. Front and center is a supersized battery readout that now doubles as an ETA. If you're charging, it estimates how long before you're full. Below that, the familiar 24-hour and 10-day tabs are gone. Apple replaced them with a single color-coded weekly trend graph that blends your last 7 days into a rolling average. At a glance, you can see whether today's consumption is spiking above or dipping below your baseline. And the chart even calls out morning, afternoon, and evening surges so you can spot patterns like TikTok doom scrolling at midnight. A new banner spells it out in plain English, using more battery than usual, on par with your norm, or using less, iOS, then highlights the specific apps responsible and by how much. Each app line item now comes with footnotes: how long it's set on screen, how long it ran in the background, and whether an explosion of push notifications helped drain the tank. It's basically screen time for watt hours. Need historical receipts? Swipe back day by day up to a week to see active use minutes, idle screen drain, and exactly when, and for how long you plugged in. The timeline even overlays charge sessions, so you can tell whether that cafe USB-A port actually did anything. The familiar battery health card is still here, but now foregrounds cycle count and maximum capacity, while charge limit lets the longevity-obsessed cap Philips at 80%. And power mode has become its own mini-hub. Low power mode remains for those last-leg emergencies, but a new adaptive power toggle can run all day. When iOS senses your burn energy faster than normal, it quietly dials back display brightness, eases CPU clocks, or lets non-urgent tasks lag a beat. Nothing dramatic, just enough to stretch you to bedtime. Can even trigger low power mode automatically when you plunge to 20%, and because it throttles rather than outright pause in background activity, your notifications keep flowing. The feature is opt-in and can coexist with the classic low power switch. Now here's a quick recap and checklist to remember if you want your battery to last the longest. Keep your iPhone cool, no sun dash bacon, no pillow charging, and if it's roasting, yank off the case or ditch the cheap brick. Flip on optimized charging or charge limit and let iOS babysit the top-ups. That's why 2-year-old iPhone can still flex 90% health. Quit chasing the magical 100% every time. 85% will usually carry you through the day, and living in single-digit red is just as dumb in the other direction. When you're running late, fast charge without guilt. When you're sleeping, a low-watt brick keeps temps extra chill. If you're shelving a spare phone for months, park it around 50%. Dead or full batteries hate long naps. And remember, every battery ages. Dropping to 80% after a couple of years is normal. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace out.